Alright, I'm jumping through a lot of stuff. I hope you are with me. See, whenever new technology come along, people tend to get very, very, very scared. And when the television came along in, I don't know what year it was, doesn't really matter. But when it came out, the theaters, the cinemas were very, very afraid because now there's this new medium that could suddenly show the same things that you could in the theaters. They were afraid that nobody was going to go to the theaters because why would they go to the theaters if you can watch something on television? And of course, it turned around that television became one of the biggest money-making machines for the theaters, not for the theaters, but for the producers and for the studios, because once you had it in the theaters, you could then sell it to TV afterwards. Then came the VHS and Betamax and Video 2000, whatever it was, but video as a concept came along. And I don't know if you remember, some of you were old enough, but Sony created a VHS machine that could record stuff, and they got sued by the studios because how dare somebody invent something where we can record a live show or recording and own that afterwards. They got sued. Sony got sued because of that. And then, of course, it got turned around, and then VHS and later DVD made a lot of money for the studios and for producers if they were in the first line, not the last line. And now we have a new technology called Internet, and people are very afraid of it, but it's the cheapest distribution form ever. It's the cheapest ways of getting your message out there. It's the cheapest way of getting a film out there. So if you have a film that potentially only has 4,000 people to see it in Germany and 7,000 in France and 10,000 in the States, the old cost of putting a film out there, it would not work. But in the new world, it's okay because you can reach all those customers online or audience or whatever you want to refer to them as and still make some money. So the future is a world of on-demand, no exclusivity. And the traditional business model is too expensive for the independent producer, as I showed in my little example here before. So what is VOD? VOD is an umbrella term for blah blah. No, it's about her, it's about getting out there, it's about seeing anything you want, anytime, and any platform, anywhere. And here's just some of the examples of the many, many platforms that are out there right now. There's so many, it's almost incredible. And here's the key aspect of this. It's all non-exclusive. We're so used to thinking exclusive. Somebody owns a right and you can't do anything with it. You're locked into a right or a deal for 15 years. You as a producer, you as a filmmaker can go out there and make a deal with all these different platforms because they're competing, but you can make a license deal. You still retain ownership of your film. And so many people say, oh, VOD doesn't work, doesn't work. No, it doesn't work if you go to one platform. And that's what everybody, oh, we tried Amazon, and we tried iTunes, and we made $250 in 1 month. Yes, you are going to make $250 a month in iTunes, but it's every month. But it's not exclusive. You can go to all the other platforms. There's thousands of platforms out there. Not all of them are making money. But we're in the old world, we went from we've got a lot of money from a few sources when we make the sales, to now in this model where we're going to make a little bit of money, but from many, 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 many different sources. It's about multiple streams of income. VOD, DOD, COD, all the ODs that are out there. This is really key to understand the different concepts. People who criticize VOD is not making money because they go to one or two. I really think that they should try all of them. That's where it is. All right, here's just a little, that's from the EU report from last year. Some of you might have studied it. Of course, the services are much higher. So to give an example of all the different players there in Europe right now. I want to talk more about the long tail. Has anybody heard about the term the long tail? It was coined by Chris Anderson, who is the editor-in-chief at the Wired magazine, a US magazine. And he came up with this, that if you have the popularity up here, the Superman, the Spiders, and the Batmans, the big films, then down here at the end of the long tail, we have all the smaller films, European films, and or Danish films, and but it never reaches zero. There's always a demand, no matter how small it is. Every film now has a chance to, or product, or book, or music, has a chance to get out there because it never reaches zero. That's the whole point of the long tail, and one has to believe in that concept to understand it. Netflix was one of the first companies in the world to really understand this on a more simpler level. In the UK, I think they have Love Film. I don't know about the rest of Europe, but Netflix found out that an envelope, a DVD is really very thin, and it can fit into one envelope, and people can subscribe to a Netflix service and make a line of 100 films or 500 films they want to watch. And they just send the DVD through the mail. People watch it. They can keep it as long as they want. They don't pay a late fee. That's why Blockbuster in the US had to change the whole late fee concept, because that's where all they're making all their money. And then people just return whenever they want, and they pay, in America it's $14.95 a month. And they can have 3 films out anytime, so just keep rotating these films. But they prove that people actually do want to watch a Godard film from '68 or an old Carl T.H. Dreyer from a long time ago. They just proved there was a demand from the smaller niche films as opposed to the bigger studio films. And this is the first time that the on-demand from a DVD point really came through. There's not a lot of numbers out there. People are not very happy to share numbers, but this is Virgin Media in the UK, and this is actually almost 2 years old now. If you see here, the third column is 7.6 million views. If you go 1 year later, it's 2007, they had 23.1 million views. And just in 1 year, they almost tripled their viewing. And again, this is 2 years old. There's some projections of what it means, and it again comes from that European report that was made, that they estimate that it's going to generate 1.269 billion euros by 2010. I mean, that's next year. It's happening right now. And the revenue forecast in the US is the same, and this comes from Screen Digest, Full Media, and RightsCom that are quoted in the report that came out last year. So what is DOD? To understand that, we need to look at Amazon. It was one of the first ones to really fathom what they were doing there. I told the story to some other ones, but I'll tell it again here. I met with, when I was working at Trust, we were one of the first countries outside, one of the first companies outside the US to start working with Amazon. And I met with them, and we started talking about how it works. And they always say that they have these 2 million books in prints. And I thought they had a warehouse, you know, bigger than Brussels, and somebody ordered a very rare book. They had to go to the other end of town and pick it up and come back and ship it out. But it turns out most of the books they have, they don't even have in the physical form. They have it as a digital file. So somebody orders a book, they print it right there, put it on the label, and ship it the same day. So there's no warehouse, there's no inventory, there's nothing to fill. You don't have to, oh, this guy has 10 over here, there's 5 here. It comes from a central source, and it's printed on demand. And that keeps costs down. And that's why they want to have every book that they can. They don't care if you sell 10,000 a month or 4 a month. They'll still allow you to keep you up there. And this is a major change in how it's happening. And of course, they're doing that now with DVDs. They get the digital file of the film, and they burn a DVD whenever somebody orders it. And to give you a perfect example, as I said, we're some of the first companies outside the US to do it. And I was very proud when I got the first DVDs from Amazon, because we put like 100 films up on Amazon. And I walked around the producers at Centropa showing them their various films. And one of the producers was like, oh my God, where did you get this DVD? I haven't been able to find it anywhere in 10 years. I said, well, like, put it up on Amazon. He said, can you give me some more? Yeah, how many do you want? 20. I went in and bought 20, and 3 days later we had 20 copies of his film. And it's just because we're so used to thinking that once we made a film, it goes in the theaters. And then it gets kicked out. And they go to Blockbuster. And then it gets kicked out. But putting it out like Amazon or many of these other DOD sites, we can deliver on demand. It doesn't matter if the film is very small or very, very big. And that means that every smaller film has a chance now, where before it didn't. And again, as a producer, you can make a direct deal with Amazon. They have a website called createspace.com, and you can upload and do everything that yourself. It's really brilliant. And just to give you some numbers, I'm throwing the in Amazon's case, they have this DOD. They take 55% because they're burning all that stuff. But that means you as a producer or filmmaker or rights holder get to keep 45% of the first dollar or first euro or whatever it is. But 45%, when we start looking at the other thing, we were the last person to get paid. Now we're suddenly the first person to get paid, and we still own our own film if we did the deal directly with them. Whereas before, somebody else owned it and controlled all the aspects about it. This is really key to understanding the shift that's happening out there. The iTunes model is much nicer in the producer's favor, because they only charge 30% and the producer keeps 70%.